Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be showing you how to install the TecNiq clearance and side marker lights. These are available in amber as well as red. Before we do that though, let's take a minute, we'll check these out. So tons of different clearance and side marker lights available out there, right? And one of the things that really separates these TecNiq ones from a lot of the other ones, just the overall construction quality of them. They're extremely well made. From how everything's set up on the back to the lenses, really thick plastic, and it's kind of nice too. Both of these are clear lenses, so in my opinion, they look a little more sleek in most cases. And I've actually had some TecNiq lights, not these exact ones, but I've had some other ones on my boat trailer for probably the better part of a year now. And they're holding up great, no issues at all with them. And that's dunking them into the muddy river a couple times a month at least. So pretty high quality lights and ones that are extremely well built. In many cases, these lights are gonna be an upgrade to your current trailer. And I say that because these have LEDs, which are no brainer, the way to go now, right? They're way more reliable. You don't have the classic incandescent bulbs that bounce around on especially trailer stuff, all kinds of trailers. They bounce around, end up breaking, huge pain, and you're trying to deal with that. So these have two diodes in them, super bright, and should last for an extremely long time without having to worry about putting a new light in place there. So it should work out real well. And other than that, not really a whole lot to it. Like I said, extremely well made. You got the LEDs, so they don't really draw hardly any amps at all or overdo your trailer's wiring. So even if you had a trailer which you wanted to add more lights to, you could get away with doing that without having to worry about your wiring or anything like that. Looking at the back of the light, we can see the quality of these things. There's all this potting material in here, so everything is sealed up, so you can submerge these lights. I always recommend, if you think about it, probably to turn your power off before doing so, but that's just something I try to get in the habit of. It's not going to really hurt it if you don't, but just a thought. And these lights are really high quality, and just down to the small things too. So since they are self-grounding, your screw goes through here where you mount it up, and this metal piece would come in contact with your trailer to ground it. And it's a nice, thick, large grounding plate too, as opposed to a lot of times some of the more inexpensive lights, if you will. It's just a tiny little ring, and eventually ends up corroding easily and failing. And even down to the wiring, the ends are already pre-stripped and they're tinned, meaning that there's almost a solder type material on them and ready to get hooked up more or less right out of the box. And to help you figure out if this is going to work with your application, I'll give you some measurements. As far as the overall length of it, it's going to be 3 11/16 inches long. As far as the width of it, it's going to be 13/16 of an inch. And as far as the thickness goes, it's going to be 3/4 of an inch. When it comes to the mounting holes from center to center, that's going to be 3 inches. As far as the installation goes, extremely straightforward. You have a wire that you hook up, mount it up to the location there, and that's really all there is to it. So hang around, we'll go ahead and put this one on now. To begin your installation, first thing you need to do is figure out where you want to mount your lights up, right? So with the amber colored ones like we're doing today, these you'd want to face towards the front or towards the side of your trailer. The red colored ones you want to face towards the rear of the trailer. So since we're doing the amber, this is where we're going to put it. Right here, there is already a light there. And so one of the holes lined up, and I'm going to use that for the ground portion of this. The metal's already clean and bare. And what I did, I just lined that up, right? And I did have to drill a new hole here. I just used a drill bit to make a small pilot hole. That way can run our screw in a little bit easier. So prior to doing that though, here is our wire from our tail light circuit. All right, we got more than enough of it, so I'm just gonna run this through first. It'll be easier to hook up and everything. And this is how you're gonna make connections. You strip the end of the wire back, twist it, and I'm gonna use a butt connector, specifically heat shrink style one. You can grab these connectors here at eTrailer if you don't have any, but you put it over the bare end of the wire and then crimp it down. And then we'll grab our light, put the wire in the end of it, get it crimped. And I like the heat shrinks because the ends will seal up and help protect against corrosion a little bit better. So to shrink them down, just take a heat source and seal them up. I did put some electrical tape over our connection there just for an extra layer of protection. We'll slide this through. And I'm just going to use a couple self-tapping screws to mount this up here. I like to get them both kind of tight. That way I can still maneuver the light around if I need to. And I'll completely run them down. With that light hooked up, it is a good idea to test it to make sure that it's working, especially if you're doing a bunch of them. I like to do them one at a time, you know, just so we can isolate the problem if there happens to be one. I'm hooked up to a test box. You can use your truck or whatever, but keep in mind if your truck has issues, could mislead you, thinking it's something you did on the trailer side. We'll go ahead, hit our taillight signal on. The light comes on like it should, and I think we're in good shape. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the TecNiq clearance and side marker lights.